Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Not too many people in. I'm assuming people are busy with the Christmas stuff. Let's see who's in here. Logical Danger, Life Matrix. Hello, hello. Wow, not many at all. Okay, so... that's weird. I wonder if it didn't send out the notifications. I had it done pretty early. All right, so I do have a fair lot going on for Mandelas. No, like, super extreme ones. So, but luckily I'm not relying on you guys for them this time. Yeah, I almost forgot to add that one in. Okay, so first one is what is the thumbnail? I don't know if you guys know about this one. Maybe you UK people do. I have not really seen. I've seen that these like mound things are becoming more and more commonly present. 20 years ago, I never heard of any mounds, and then the first mound tombs were like just earth piles. But it seems like they're getting like more and more sophisticated. We got like the keystone shaped ones like in Japan or like suddenly all over the place. So this one kind of caught my attention because I really just have not seen this one. It's called Newgrange. It's supposed to be older than Stonehenge, like 5,000 years. So it's kind of showed up now. Supposedly it's been in this form since the 60s. So, you know, before I was born and stuff. These are definitely original, but this area has been redone by archaeologists. So it's kind of interesting because it used to be that they would try to keep it in its original form, but now they just go ahead and guesswork and it looks all modern. So supposedly these are older versions of it here. Entrance to the Great Cairn of Newgrange on the Boyne near Drogheda. Was it quite a long time ago? So there's this front and the stones. So they're basically saying that all these there's a whole bunch of other large stones that ring all the way around, although weirdly you can't see any of them. And this is supposed to be a mound, but it looks more like a regular hill. So I kind of wonder if it really originally was a mound or just like a excavation into the hill. Okay, then here's a little bit later one. So were these stones here on the side actually, they kind of make it sound like they uncovered them, but it really looks to me like there was nothing here and then they added these stones. They're kind of trying to say that they were under there, but it really looks like somebody in a more modern times after this first one came in here and look, there's a drainage pipe. They put in a gate and they added all these stones. Probably had to add these stones to push the sides back so the gate would work, etc., etc. All right, now the inside is supposedly original and there are huge stones all through it. Like megalithic size. They're taller than a person, so they're like, how did they move it? There's these spiral patterns carved all over the place on these. This is interesting here because instead of using wood or something to shore it up, it looks like they just used giant stones. So that's kind of a lot. I mean, how do you stack these like this? I don't know. It just, it is pretty impressive. There's some of that's the exterior. One thing I do notice on this one is there's these weird, on some of these stones you see that I've talked about has been showing up that wasn't originally there for me. On a lot of the ancient architecture stones, it's kind of like a bubbling effect and weird pock marks in the stone. And you'll see it here. Now, right here, there's three in a row, so you might think, oh, well, they did it as part of the design. But here, it just intrudes in the middle of the design. So I kind of think these pocks were there. See, there's one just sitting there, and then maybe they did the designs around the pocks. So then the question kind of comes up, like, why do these all over the place have these pocks? There must be something about the initial formation of these carved stones that yielded these, and I have yet to hear the explanation. Okay, here's the outside. Keep in mind, this was all redone by archaeologists here. So this is not original up here. Down here supposedly is original with lots of carvings, although weirdly I don't see carvings on those. So actually, that's interesting. You know, I read stuff and then I look at the photos. I'm like, that doesn't really match with the photos I'm looking at. So they say this is like 5,000 years ago. Now here are some images of the reconstruction of the area. It's almost having trouble figure. I think then this here is the mound where they just excavated here. And what is all this? It looks, I mean, this looks like totally modern. So I'm kind of like, how much of it really is original? Of course, none of it even existed for me. The pre-excavation appearance of Newgrange in 1950. Okay, so it really looks like a natural hill more. And you know, do we really know for sure that it was really this amazing mound that was made by them versus, you know, I don't know. Did they just stack some dirt on top of an existing area, or how did that exactly happen? Okay. Aerial photo of Newgrange during excavation. So it's the position of the huge monument on the gravel ridge. On the gravel ridge. Okay, so there they are excavating. So I'm assuming this is supposed to be the originals. But is it? I don't know, you know. And here it is now. So it looks quite different than when they found it. So they're stacking stones. Are they sure that these stones were like this originally? So, I mean, this is still a Mandela for me because I don't remember this being here like 15, 20 years ago at all. Not even like 5, 10 years ago. So, how much of it is original? So, they're supposedly the original ones. This is non-original. The entrance at Newgrange was remodeled during the reconstruction to allow easier access for visitors. The gray cut limestone was used to differentiate the old from the modern. The gray cut limestone. Because so you look at this, and this is not even what was there even before that. Oh, I already did. But you saw the cobbles I showed earlier. The cobbles I showed earlier were definitely not the this stuff. So I don't even know what they mean when they say the gray cut limestone differentiates. The gray cut limestone is not original. Neither is this white stuff here. So if this is to differentiate old from new, then all of this in here should be old, but it's not because this is not old. So it doesn't even make sense. And again, we have gray, then white, then gray, then white. They're saying that the gray cut limestone is demarcating anything in particular does not make any sense to me. All right, then here's just some random images of it. So frankly, you know, they've got some of these old stones here along the edge. They've been carved. There was probably something here. All the rest of this, and even inside, there's no images of inside from long ago. So even inside, we really don't know what was done in here or what down the line they're going to say was original or not. If it doesn't have, especially if it doesn't have the old carvings on it. So the whole thing, but it's supposed to have been here since the 60s in this form. So, okay, here's the back of it. Absolutely looks nothing like the old photos except for one little door and one stone in front. There's the back. So here is the end of supposedly the original line of stones here. It doesn't go all the way around. Then there's these weird stones out here. So you're like, well, what's going on with those? It's just not mentioned anywhere that I see. And apparently there's another one of these too. And I was actually supposed to click on something to get to the other line. The other line is heavily reconstructed as well. Let me see if I can find that other one. It was one of those links that I I just, Dobe. Old, it's supposed to be older than the pyramids. Let me see if I can find, Mounds, Ireland. So this is in Ireland. So for me, Ireland had castles. I think that might be it. This one. But I did not, and then there was some things about walls, but I hadn't really heard, yeah, Knowth. I don't know how to say it. Knowth burial mound. So if you look up this, I'll say it's Knowth burial mound. It's a similar story. A Neolithic passage grave. So these used to be burial mounds. That's what they call it when they first showed. But now they're passage graves. An ancient monument of the World Heritage Site in Ireland's Valley of River Boyne. Is the largest passage grave of Bruna. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, more of the circle patterns. It looks much like the other one as far as the carvings that we see. Crisscrosses. Actually, I think this one that I was looking at from the other one might actually belong to Knowth. I might have just saved it, but it was kind of a strangely small little wiki considering it's supposed to be the largest burial mound. Knowth. Okay, let's go to knowth.com here. Six years from now, we will get there. Oh, is that the top? Cool. All right. Circles. Western patches. So that other one also had like a central chamber with a lot of stones stacked in there. This one apparently has two routes in and out. Geez, this is really not the world-class number of photos, is there? You know what? Maybe doesn't exist. Let's try this. So I did find kind of around the same time there was a lot of photos of reconstruction similar at Knowth. This one is cool. Is there a big landing strip on the top? Was that always there? What are all these mounds on the sides? So the story they were saying about Knowth was that it looked like it was originally some kind of dwelling and then was later converted to some kind of burial. I mean, that I guess is plausible that maybe, somebody comes with an idea and burrows into a hillside and then over time, different leaders change their plans for it. This one looks nice. Okay, so you see a similar concept here of these side stones. I have a feeling that this is all reconstruction in here. It wasn't all fancy like that. Maybe this one's original. I'm a little suspicious with they seem so willing to just go ahead and totally dig out and redo everything. That just wasn't how things used to be done in my old timeline, that they wouldn't mess with it. I mean, granted, it's way cooler looking. Why are there so many over here? There's 3 of them here, so I'm not sure where this really is. Because the mounds that I thought I saw around Knowth did not all have the stones. So are these all originals, or are they part of the reconstruction? So it used to be like this big push to keep it like the same. And apparently that was not done so much. I'm going to type in reconstruction and see what we find. So for people into conspiracy theory, this is interesting because you're like, okay, what was originally there could be vastly different than what we see now. Oh, this is interesting because I'm finding the same photos for Knowth as I was finding for Newgrange. Mound of the hostages. All right, Newgrange Ireland. Historical. Let me try that one. This might be something we're going to have to wait to show because I'm just not finding the older photos of it. Let's see, does Wiki even mention? Last Chance Wiki. All right, I'm going to see what's on Wiki and then I'm going to drop it. History. Evidence of late Neolithic and Bronze Age activity on the site. Most items are of grooved ware timber circle located near the entrance. The hill at the Knowth fell into disrepair and the mound or cairn slipped, causing the entrances to both passages to be covered. The site remained practically unused for a period of 2,000 years. During the Iron Age, it became a hill fort with encircling ditches and souterrains added. Knowth became a habitational site for the first time. 2 ditches were dug, one at the side of the mound behind the keystones and the other at the top. The entrances were apparently discovered. Found early Christian graffiti on the stones in the eastern chamber. All right, blah, 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 blah. A brief excavation carried out in 1941 by McAllister. In 1962, full-scale excavations began. Entrances were found in 67 and 68. This is interesting. There's like no info about the reconstruction, but I did mention, I did find mention of it in other locations. But the wiki has nothing, and I couldn't find any photos. And the same photos for Newgrange was showing up for Knowth, so this thing might be still fleshing itself out. Roll call. There's almost nobody in here. Too bad I slept most of the day. Yeah, you know, I don't know what happened to today, but I slept for like half of it, and I swear the rest of it was like 5 seconds long. I didn't get anything done. I managed to get ready for this show, but I literally did not get anything else done besides eating some food. Jumping Ship is in. Joe Blor's in. Renee Cruz. Shout out to my extraterrestrial, alien, praying mantis, insectozoids, UFOs, StarCraft community. Yeah. I like that. You rock. And no, what's up, UFO enthusiast? Yeah, I guess am I even a UFO enthusiast anymore? I'm definitely enthused by the concept. So yeah, I would say that. I don't know what's going on with UFOs anymore because if timelines are shifty, then what are UFOs? What is going on with the rest of the universe? If we can magically move from one part of the galaxy on the outer edge to the middle, then is reality even reality? The whole concept of people getting on a ship and using their ET technology to blast over here somehow and show up kind of gets very tricky when you've got the concept that we moved, and if there's such a thing as the Mandela and all of this shiftiness, then are there ETs out there and they know about it too? Or what? We couldn't be the only ones to know about it, could we? I don't know. So it really brings up the question of what in the F is going on with UFOs even, and aliens, or is it some kind of interdimensional thing? So if reality is really a simulation, then did they just exist outside the simulation in some kind of consciousness state, and then they just kind of bop in here and take on like more of a physical form? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Live chat. Yeah, I'm not on live chat. Guilty as usual. We are living inside an ET, computer, God matrix, grid simulation, parallel zoo, hunting ground, fishbowl, test tube, petri dish, dimensions, and and school. I don't know. It's like maybe the real existence outside of like the earth realm is just so bizarre that we inside the earth realm just can't really wrap our heads around it, and that's why a bunch of this stuff doesn't make sense to us, because we just don't have the mental framework to even get started. It's like if you were trying to explain to an earthworm about shopping for Christmas and fashion, they like and having an argument with your mother-in-law. Like the earthworm would be just like, what? It just, none of that makes any sense to the earthworm, right? So, maybe it's that. Maybe that's why we can't figure it out, because it's just completely too weird and beyond our ability. That won't stop me from trying, though. Other folks have family and friends as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The earthquake the other night felt like a skyquake here in Oregon. Okay, yes, there was like a 6.4 in Humboldt County, which is the north end of California. We didn't feel anything here. Although it is interesting because a couple days before that, Dave said there was an earthquake in the morning that like shook the fence and stuff. He was outside and he asked if I felt it. I said no, but I was sleeping. And then I checked the earthquake maps and stuff for California, and there was no earthquake that morning at all. Like it was actually super quiet. There wasn't even, like it was like still, stiller than normal, that there was absolutely nothing that could have been physically felt here. Because sometimes you're like, well, maybe there was a tiny one, but it was centered like right near here or something. No, there was nothing. So then he was sort of like, huh? Okay, so this one kind of came up. All right, it's just some weird Reddit thing. Okay, what is this? So apparently in one city town type place, they have these iconic insects, and so they started putting statues of the insects all over the city and decorating them like according. So this is like McDonald's, so they decorated it like Ronald McDonald. Of course, it's got multiple arms, claws, and a big nose because it's actually this weevil thing. But what was weird about this is that somebody brought up this concept that there was a statue trend like 15 years ago. I have no recollection of this statues trend, but there were, I think, boll weevils is this one. But so someone's like, I think these weevils are a take on this statue trend that swept the world 15 to 20 years ago. They were all over US and Europe, with each city doing their own cheesy version. No idea where it started. Do you guys, any of you guys remember any statue? Like, so each location would pick like a theme, apparently, and then put statues up all over the city that match that theme. So this location picked these weevil insects. Chicago picked cows on parade. Toronto, we had moose. This guy's hometown did bulldog. It started in Switzerland and became really big when Chicago did it. Okay, bulldogs again. We had giant bison in our town. Longmont, Colorado did geese. Ohio State did Brutuses. VT had hokey birds. The heck that is. Richmond had some type of fish, rockfish maybe. Minneapolis did Peanuts characters and had them all painted by local artists. Because I guess Charles Schulz, the author of the Peanuts cartoon, lived in St. Paul. Hogs were done in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Toronto did mooses. I think I covered that. Winchester VA does apples. Tulsa. Los Angeles did angels. I lived there then. I didn't see any angels, ironically. Los Angeles. Is this guy serious? I have not heard, seen, or anybody who's lived in Los Angeles would probably know that the name Los Angeles does not fit the city at all. I'm sorry. No one even tries to make the city fit. It is so not fitting. I don't remember anything about angels being on Los Angeles. So, I mean, does anybody remember anything about this statue trend? This is interesting because I didn't realize Los Angeles supposedly did angels. Virginia does that with love, Love, love statues. If you visit Hampton Roads, you'll find Norfolk mermaids and various art styles all over the area. So Hampton Roads. Richmond used to have fish statues everywhere. All right. So you get the idea. I don't know. Did yours, does at least America, Canada, have you ever anything about this? So, it used to be people would be at home with family and friends, but, you get tired of it and you sneak off and watch videos later. So, although I am used to it being a little slow during the season, there's usually some people. Dark Wolf's Den's in. Hey, Dark Wolf. I hope you had more than 2 hours of daytime to this today. I don't know where it all went for me. I had all these plans. I'm like, I'm going to get ready for the show. Then I'm going to go to work and do all this stuff. I don't know where the time went. And I was actually working on it, too. I wasn't, like, goofing off the whole time and stuff like I sometimes do. And sometimes I don't get stuff done because I'm goofing off. But today was not one of those days. It does. It says Lost Angels. Well, Los Angeles in Spanish means the angels. So it's all in Spanish. So if it's all in Spanish, then it's the angels. But yeah, you're right. You could say it means Los Angeles, but that would be English minus the T and then kind of Spanish. Yeah, it's supposed to be the angels. Very ironic considering it's, well, cities tend to be kind of scummy in general. It's not an old city, I mean, it is for our area, I guess, but it compared to like London or something, there's not like ancient, beautiful buildings all over. Then you've got the Hollywood industry, which basically attracts a lot of really desperate people after fame and fortune, which is very materialistic. And most of those people end up failing, 99.9%. And the few that make it seem to end up even more miserable. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a star that grew up, at least when they were younger, going through the system that isn't like a drug addict, miserable, commits suicide? I mean, it's very hard to get out of that with any kind of happiness, especially if you start young. So it can't possibly be healthy environment. 1980s LA was a real treat. Okay, maybe. I wasn't there then, so. And of course, now you have the giant homeless population, drug addicts, crime through the roof, blah, 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 blah. There's an earthquake, San Francisco, a few days ago before I left for my Philippines Islands vacation. I'm not delivering U.S. postal mail like Barney Hill for the next 2 weeks. Will I need it? I don't know. Are you a delivery person or are you shipping? I'm so like, what was it? Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, Monday was the last day to ship priority mail with any kind of reasonable chance, like good chance that it will arrive in time for Christmas. So, this is when my busyness level starts to drop. I still get, like this year, I still got kind of heavy packages Monday, Tuesday, people hoping that it'll make it. And, if you're close to California, it may well. But overall, I'd say the season was kind of slow. Not surprising with inflation and bad economy. Mail carrier. Yeah. It's definitely not a good time for retail sales and mail carriers because you got twice as much work and you don't get paid extra. I don't know if you guys get maybe a little overtime, but when I was in retail, I didn't get much considering all of the intense stress and extra busyness. You still get paid the same hourly wage. Yeah, so send it to me no later than the 22nd. Yeah. Well, that's shipping out. That's when I give it to the post office. So it was Monday. According to USPS official dates for 2022. All right. So nobody remembers anything about any statue trend. That's kind of interesting. All right. I guess we'll go to this one. Every few months-ish or so, I check my Robert Palmer video to see what the latest changes have been. Now, if you guys remember, I have said in the past, if you're the same people as before, which you may not, I remember this video, and I watched it a lot when I was the MTV generation, when MTV used to play actual music videos almost all the time. Some people may not believe that even happened, but yes, us older people do remember. So this video was kind of hitting right around that era for me, and I saw it a million times because there used to be not that much else to do but watch MTV. And the background was totally black back then, and I've noticed over the last few years that it has slowly gotten some red in it. And at first it was red. It showed up as this fiery red, like fire and brimstone, but mostly the brimstone black with little bits of red in it. And I've been watching that kind of grow. And yeah, a couple days ago, I looked at it. It is now changed still, changed more. It is now like orange. The black has some white ringing, so it's very clearly clouds now. Before, it wasn't really clear what that was. So the clouds are getting white, and it's like a sunrise thing. There's apparently some kind of sunrise here. The red has changed to orange. There's yellow. There's sunrise rays. I'm only hoping that this is indicative of where we're at, that the hell of the red is changing to some kind of sunrise, or is it a sunset? Yes, I'm hoping it's a sunrise. A while back, this fifth girl showed up back here with non-matching clothes. And you know what's interesting is if you look up this video, it'll say girls with matching clothes. But that's another thing that's changed. A while ago, you can see that the skirts are different lengths. This girl that showed up in the back has some kind of V-neck thing instead of the same as these. She looks like she's on drugs. She's sitting down. Her legs are sprayed across. Originally, none of these girls had guitars. And then one got a guitar and the white strap. And then another got a guitar. Now a third's got a guitar. Then a while ago, I'm pretty sure one of them didn't have a guitar last I looked. But a while ago, one of them got a rainbow strap instead of the thick white strap. This white strap has gotten thicker. So what happened to this last time? This girl's strap now has some kind of writing on it and blotches of reddish brown. You can see it on there a little bit. I couldn't quite figure out what the writing was. And so that's one of the new things. New things. I believe one more of these girls got a guitar, though. I don't think all of them. So all of the girls are now doing something. For me, originally there was 4, and they just danced. Then, like, that one got this keyboards thing, and then one got this, I think it was this one, got the guitar first, and these two down. Now, they all are busy. Now, none of these actresses, model people actually know how to play any of this, so they're all faking it, which is part of the current story. Another thing I noticed that's new is the ground. The ground used to be, I'm not sure what it was, but it was boring. It sure did not look like dirt. I think they might be standing on brown tarps or something. So this now, I'm guessing, is supposed to be some kind of dirt or sand kind of a look, with some kind of backdrop of like sunrise or sunset. That's not how it was before. It was not dirt. Maybe it was just black ground or something. But it kind of looks like a creepy moonscape, crappy thing, but yet it's a little bit too brown. So I guess it's dirt, desert. I don't know. Something's a little off though with it. So that's new. The more orange, more yellow, more white background, and the dirt are the ones that I'm seeing this time. What I'm looking at for down the line, I'm not going to actually play this thing because, copyrights. Oh, and the outfits. They were not see-through in my old timeline. They have gotten more and more see-through. You can actually see this one's fleshy parts, like even from a cutaway now you can see. And that was not at all the case. This one acts very strange towards that one. I've kind of covered that one before. Let's see. Oh, it's not even gonna. I think so. What I'm kind of seeing, let me see if I can find a close-up of this one. Why does it look so blurry? Another thing I'm kind of noticing is the makeup is starting to diverge. And this one here is getting really thicker, blacker, kind of raccoon eyes more than the others. So she's looking kind of like a predatory creature. You could see, I mean, it's kind of subtle, but I think that's the direction I'm going to be looking at more. So I've looked at enough images to see them And this one looks like she's just gotten plastered on more. So, you could argue, okay, maybe she has a different eye shape and stuff, but it didn't used to be that way. They used to be as close as possible. The other thing is the dancing has gotten even more out of, they used to dance like robots with the same leg forward every time. Let's see if I can close this. So it's gotten worse with them dancing differently from each other. And this one now on the keyboard, she actually doesn't even put the same legs forward each time, because it used to be like just like this, but now she'll go like, and then sometimes this one will go twice, and then there's no real pattern to it, but she definitely makes it so that let's see if I can get her. I'll just play a touch of it without sound. Okay, so if you saw that, she goes a few times like this. Then she goes, and it's all random, like whether she's going to do two beats with one leg or just one beat with one leg. So that keeps it constantly out of tune with all the others. And then this one swings around all crazy. So, yeah. The one that tripped me out was this girl, though, because she just like showed up. She wasn't there for years. And then one day I looked and I'm like, wait, there's another girl back there, like a creepy ghost. I really can't play any of the song because it's like asking for copyright strikes. Yeah, so this is the one that came out first for me, and I saw it a ton, and I was kind of getting tired of MTV by the time Simply Irresistible came out. But it is interesting that you mentioned that, because he's got two similar ones, so that kind of makes it a little harder to remember. Not for me, just because I hardly ever watched that other one, and I watched this one a million times. And then since the Mandela, I've been targeting just this one. So I've seen it, for the last 4 or 5 years. I keep watching it, the same one, looking for new changes. Statue of David has that. Yeah, he holds that Statue of David. Yeah, it's not supposed to be what you said, Joe Bloor, but it sure does look like that. For people who don't know what Joe Bloor is talking about. Yes, Statue of David, first of all, looked like serene and angelic, speaking of angels for me. Now he looks kind of tortured, angry, and like his eyes are all creepy. And what is this thing that he holds in his hand? This. It's not supposed to be a phallic symbol, but it sure looks like one. What is this? What is this? So it's supposed to be a whip, like the end of a whip. But why is it all weirdly fleshy? And I mean, it's like, his eyes look all like, it's kind of the look that I would have if I saw a spider on my shoulder that I wasn't expecting to see. I would have that look like, ah, with my eyes all bugged out, kind of angry. And see if I can find a better image of it. That's all we got. Kind of going slow. So I don't remember him having his, he just had this boring pose. He didn't have his, it's wrong, okay? It's just wrong. The whole image of him is just wrong. I can't really find a better picture of it than that, but this one makes it look worse. Come on. What is this? It looks like it's gotten more phallic looking than last time I looked. What with this? What is this? What is this? It's either some kind of worm snake monster or it's some kind of phallic symbol. There is no way that that's supposed to be a whip. Like I guess he Even that is kind of creepy, a whip. Unless they've changed the storyline. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be phallic yet, though. I mean, maybe we're heading towards that. I don't know. And I mean, if you had a whip, don't you hold it like this? You don't hold it like, who would have made that choice? God, it's like worse than last time. I remember it. All right. Let's just see what the wiki has to say. I'm assuming it's still going to say it's a whip. Originally commissioned as a series of statues. All right, wait, what is it then? I don't see the word whip in here. Description, commission placement, interpretation. His brow is drawn, his neck is tense, the veins bulge on his lower right hand. His left hand holds a sling, okay, that is draped over his shoulder and down his right hand. That might have been what it was before, a sling. Okay. Which hold the handle of the sling. The nudity reflects the story of David as stated in the Bible, and Saul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet and brass upon his head, and David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. It doesn't say he's naked. It just, the Bible apparently says he didn't wear armor. That's a little bit different, isn't it? All right, so he supposedly has a sling, but it just looks exactly like something else. I think it looks more like a porno than ever now, though. I mean, it doesn't even look like what it is from any angle that I looked at it. What they say it is, anyway. Overprotected 1111 is in. All the women had guitars and the same length skirts. No guitars for me. What the MTV video changed. Yeah, I haven't had it on for a while. Was black background. Yep. 2 flesh straps. Yeah, so there's a rainbow one, there's a white one, and now there's a one that has like it. I did some close-ups on it and it has some kind of writing, and it makes it just look patchy with like a brownish red color and spots and a white color and spots, and that is reasonably new. He made his sling out of a schlong. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember having any such thing at all. Took a souvenir from Goliath. Okay. Doink. He was quite serene looking to me, like angelic. Now he looks all like angry and tortured, and that's the other thing. The statues used to be a lot more peaceful looking. All right, let me see what else I got on the rolls here. Whoops. All right, I'm just reading what I had on my other subjects. This one's been kind of coming up. I don't know if you guys have any other Christmas ones. We've had them in past Christmases. Changes to Christmas songs, the Upside Down Christmas. For me, Krampus was just not a thing like 10 years ago. I've never heard of him. Elf on a Shelf, I thought it was very recent, but it's quite old. I thought it was from some kind of movie that was recent, but no, it's quite old. So I'm very suspicious of that one. Um, what was there? Was some other ones. So this year, yeah, I didn't see too much that was weird, but I do keep hearing this story, and the logical danger also brought it up. It wasn't quite enough for me to bring up, but since we have a kind of a slow Mandela week, and I've also been suspicious of this, and the logical danger brought it up, and that's this thing with the history of telling ghost stories on Christmas. I mean, Christmas is not Halloween. What's up with the history of telling ghost stories on Christmas? Why do people tell? So yes, I did have like that story about Scrooge, right, in my old timeline, but that was the only ghost story. It was more like okay, it was a story about not being a Scrooge and remembering the good things about humans and being a good person. It wasn't like there was ghost story element, but that was never what was emphasized, and that was the only story that was kind of ghosty. Now suddenly apparently there's long been this tradition of telling ghost stories. Christmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas ghost stories are a tradition going back much further than A Christmas Carol. Why do people tell ghost stories on Christmas? Well, my answer is they don't. Ebenezer Scrooge wasn't the first fictional character to see ghosts around Christmas. The tradition of holiday ghost stories goes much, much further back. Further, perhaps, than Christmas itself. So I'm assuming they're going to start wrapping in the pagan stuff. But still, it just wasn't a thing. I've never heard of that until this year. And now they're like, oh, there's a Christmas song. It's the most wonderful time of the year, which talks about scary ghost stories and na 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 na. And that's an interesting one too, because I think it was last year where I was like, I don't think I remember scary ghost stories being in there. It's been there a few years, but I do remember going, a couple of years ago, but I wasn't sure. So you could kind of see how the Mandela is so sneaky, because it slips in clues a few years in advance, like foreshadows. You get used to those, and then the rest of it rolls in. So at first you're like, why is there scary ghost stories? And now we've got a whole storyline that's rolled in after scary ghost stories. That does seem to be how it slips in. Rodney King changes. Yeah, can't we all just get along? Is no longer what he said. That's been a couple years of Mandela, unless there's a newer one. Santa Claus, to me, Santa Claus had an E at the end. Not talking about the movie. You know, Overprotected 111. I am not sure on that. It doesn't exactly look totally wrong. I mean, of course, there is the word like a clause in a sentence. I'm not sure on that one. I don't think I want to chime in. Oh, wow, $10. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been like eons since I got money, huh? Appreciate it, appreciate it. Yeah, once you get older, you kind of have to buy your own good stuff, Christmas presents, huh? Unless your like husband buys you one, but then it's still kind of your money anyway. Like excuse to spend money, I guess. Forrest Gump, old VHS tape is now spelled Forrest Gump with two R's. That's kind of an older one, isn't it? Forrest it was Forrest Gump timeline for a while there. Is it not 2 R's anymore? Because, yeah, I mean, for me, there was just the forest. And people's names was Forrest. They were named after the forest. So one would assume that they maybe were, somebody who worked in the forest way back was where the name came from. Like there'd be the mountain man, the forest man, the John that lives in the forest. I kind of even still do this because I nickname people. Like sometimes they don't want their last names out or something, so I'll go, okay, that's the painter guy in Hollywood, so he's Hollywood painter dude, or the John that lives in Hollywood or whatever. That's the Las Vegas guy. So it's, we have our own version of that now. Forrest Gump movies on movie. Yeah, so it's all double R's still, looks like. Let me just shrink it down to 1 R and see what comes up. So I put in 1 R, and yes, it still comes up 2 R's. So it's not just old VHS tapes. That is the name, 2 R's. And it's been that way for a couple years. Sally Field's credit on Forrest Gump is now Field. You spelled it Feild. I'm kind of assuming that's a mistake. You just meant to leave the S off. Yeah. Sally Fields lost her S. That is a little older Mandela. I have one daughter that gets me the coolest presents. Cool. All right, where are we here? This one's an interesting one. I think that's enough to find the video I want, or the page I want. Yes. All right, this one came from Julesy, Julzee, commenter on the channel about the smooth hand fish. So I've been kind of watching these for a number of years now, these goofy fish that have their front fins had kind of slowly turned more and more into hands. So at first they were just a little hand-like, and they would kind of use them to kind of walk. And then over time, they've become less fin-like. They've gotten kind of an arm, and then the fin pieces have like patterned out into kind of a hand. Okay, so the latest thing that's happened with these goofballs is that the front fins that had formed into a hand, and they more and more walk, they kind of skittered for a while, but now they really do kind of walk on the ground. Those front fin hand things, on some of them I see now, have moved back enough that there's another pair of front hand fin things that aren't as well formed, but look a lot like what these did when they first showed up. So now we have hands over here, and another one over here. So this guy used to have this one up here, and then it had little side ones about here, but it looks like those have moved back. And this one looks like this thing has gotten a lot bigger up here too. It used to be more like just a fin, but now it's like sort of a headdress thing. This one has gotten more long and wavy. But that's the main thing. I don't remember blue eyes either, actually, now that I mention it. Then it had formed a lot of kinds of these, but this is the first time I'm seeing one formed hand and then a second fin doobie up here. All right, and if you look these up, smooth hand fish. So basically, these guys are continuing to evolve in the last few years. The hands are very handsy. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. This has even got like 5 fingers on this guy. I'm not sure if this is, yeah, this is also a smooth hand fish. So now it looks like from the front, like he's got feet and hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you only see 5, but there's really 6 and 7 over there hiding. But from this front, it looks like there's 5 fingers and 5 toes. And a headdress. And this looks like a Pokemon more than a fish. Here's another side view of them. Of course, all the color, they're getting all these weird colors. Looks like he's going to grow some weird nostril doobies too. Like there's a nostril here, but there's divots here. He's got yellow, he's got red, he's got orange, a stripe of white in the middle. All right, so, but I've been watching these and they did not have like they got 4 legs basically now. The beginnings of 4 legs. A pretty good substantial beginnings of 4 legs. Or 2 hands and 2 legs. I don't know what you want to call it, but something's going on here. Almost looks like some kind of whiskers things growing in here. Look, does it got 4 nostrils or what? What is going on here? These fins here, again, this used to be a normal fin that went up and down, but now it's got this weird endless eel type fin. A lot of fish I've noticed have been growing these eel type long dorsal fins. So what is also interesting about this, not only have I never seen them reach this level before, but there's a big story that, ooh, they went extinct. I'm like, they went extinct. They never existed in this universe before. But according to them, no, they just went extinct. So again, my distrust of anything that's gone extinct is I've just never heard of any of these things in advance, even though I've been studying them. They never existed yet. Now they're extinct. That's the view I get. Early this month, a group of Australian scientists confirmed a depressing landmark for our blue planet. The first marine fish of modern times has been declared extinct on the IUCN Red List. The smooth handfish was one of 14, now 13 species of handfish, beautifully patterned creatures with a distinctive missing link look about them, residing only in southeastern Australian waters. These striking animals are bottom dwellers that use their highly modified pectoral fins to walk along the seabed. Smooth handfish were once so common in southeastern Australia that it was one of the first species collected in an early scientific exploration, blah, blah, blah. Why were they disappearing? Humans have hunted other marine animals to extinction before. For example, the Caribbean monk seal, never heard of it either, in 1952. Others have been depleted, but not extinct, blah, blah, blah. Fishing activities probably contributed to the extinction of smooth handfish. All right, so I swear these didn't exist before, but now they're suddenly extinct. I would not be at all surprised if a whole bunch of other similar looking guys showed up. More and more species of these weird handfish. See, they're saying there's 13 other of them out there. Certainly, we've seen a huge proliferation of these, like crawler, bottom walker guys. So, again, it's just interesting. These things, they never existed, but they're declared extinct. Fish fingers. Fish fingers are literal now. It does. Yep. Pokemon. First comes the folk Pokemon, then comes the real fish. All right. So we got that one. And that's from Julesy. Good find. My handwriting is so bad. I'm staring at it. Okay. Um, dare we risk Google Earth? I think that we can risk it today. All right, it's loading pretty fast. All right, this one comes from Hobo Days, assuming this is going to load here. Yeah, I can go forward to the next one. I think I spelled that wrong. Yes. Maybe close enough. No. Here. So when I was looking up something, I think it was the handfish. It's one of those things where there's other interesting articles below, and I just clicked on this one. Now I know that they've been saying lately that the dinosaurs may not have been cold-blooded. Now, when I was a kid, everybody knew that the dinosaurs were cold-blooded lizards, and there was a whole story about them going extinct because they were cold-blooded, because that was the huge story that when the temperatures got colder, since they were cold-blooded, they could not warm themselves, so just there was mass die-off because they could only live in the warmer climates. So apparently now, though, that story has been doubted since the 60s and 70s. So I feel like this one is pushed back a lot in time, because there was no way that in the 70s and 80s there was even a molecule of question that the dinosaurs were cold-blooded for me. That was absolutely the lore, the law of the land, the official narrative. They were cold-blooded. And then maybe around the 90s, there was some kind of like some wacky idiot thinks that they might have had feathers. And then that slowly grew, and then they're like, oh, we found a fossil with hints of feathers. So maybe a few of the dinosaurs had feathers. But still, they didn't question the cold-blooded thing for a while even after that. It's only really in last couple of years that I've heard maybe they weren't cold-blooded. And that's when a lot of like the fish and stuff are starting to switch over to not be totally cold-blooded either. But there's no way that it was in the 60s and 70s that paleontologists started to have doubt this stereotype. I wasn't even alive yet, and they were already doubting it. That is not right. That is not right. Definitely not right. So it's definitely pushed back in time. Scientific name for the handfish? Forgot. Sorry, forgot. Okay, so back to you, back to Earth. Oh, I think it is loaded. Is this loaded? It's still thinking. Maybe it only loads when I'm staring at it. I hate those kind of websites. I've noticed more and more websites, if you can't just go to another window and do things and then come back, and I think Google Earth is now one of those. Yep. Russia right here. All right, so this one is from Hobo Days. She's just noticing how many freaking weird islands are above Russia these days. Russia. So indeed, this one's gotten a lot bigger. All white. Forgot the name of that one. What was the name of that one? So gonna give me the name, people. Novaya Zemlya. I think that might be the city. You ever notice it's like Google Earth is just becoming less useful every minute. It was perfectly fine before, and now it sucks. I think this is Svalbard now. Remember, it was one island when it first showed up. Gosh, how many islands are in Svalbard now? Look at it. What's this? What's this? Why is it all blurry? Oh, there, it's getting a little better. They can't put this together to not have like cut lines. Oh, that disappeared now? Okay, I don't know. So what? There's one. These all look like different islands. Definitely a different island here. This looks like another one, Edge Island. What's all this crap? I don't even know how many islands are even in Svalbard now. It just keeps growing. So when Hobo Days is like, yeah, islands above Russia, I'm like, yeah. I've been kind of watching that for a while, but it's getting pretty bad. Svalbard, also known as Spitsbergen, is Norwegian. I've never heard of that part. I've never heard of it being called Spitsbergen. The islands were first used as a base by whalers. How many islands are there? 60% is covered with glaciers. So 40% is not. Has an Arctic climate, although with significantly higher temperatures than other areas of the same latitude. The flora is adapted to take advantage of the long period of midnight sun to compensate for the polar night. So it has flora then. How many islands does it have? Geography. It doesn't really say. Let me just type in islands here and see if I can find it. The islands. The islands. Doesn't say how many islands. The islands. Svalbard's defined as all islands, islets, and skerries. What the heck is a skerry? Skerries is a small rocky island or islet. Skerries. I've never heard of that. Usually too small for human habitation. It may simply be a rocky reef. A skerry can also be called a low sea stack. Not heard of those. All right, so it's an unknown number of islands. It might actually take a lot to even try to pin that down. All right, so there we got that. Svalbard definitely growing. Oh, interesting. So I can now scroll back without getting a bunch of clouds. Oh, I spoke too soon. All right. No, I still cannot scroll. Nope, still can't scroll back. Yeah, stinkers. You can't see that. Why do they think I want to see a bunch of clouds? I want to see the continents on the land. They don't want you to see that, though. Okay. This is interesting. You're really starting to see like a deep area here, a high area here. So we're getting the United Kingdom, Iceland, Greenland lining up in a line here. Now we've got a line coming down here. Again, everything is like lining up. Now, what's all this business in here, though? I don't even know what these are called, but look at how many islands are in there. And what are they called? Names. Zemlya. Look at how patchy it all is in there. Are we not allowed to see this? Is it not formed in the grand Mandela scheme of things? Look at that. You can't see anything in there. But you go over here, you can see all kinds of stuff. Not the clearest in the world, but you can see. It at least looks like landmass, right? But what's that? I mean, come on, with our current satellite tech, I'm sure we could do better than that. And no name. What is this thing? Zemlya Gorga? Or is that just a little location in there? So there's quite a lot of islands. There should be some kind of name for this mess. Just not seeing anything. Svalbard. Okay, that one. Novaya Zemlya. Zemlya. Does Zemlya, that's Zemlya, is it maybe some kind of Russian name for islands or something? I'm not asking for that. All right, so we don't know what that is. What's going on here? What is this thing? All right, this is interesting because all I'm doing is rolling the roller, but as I roll it, the whole thing is spinning. That didn't used to be a problem. Ah, Revolution Island. Okay, October, Revolution Island. I've been hearing some yammer about Revolution Island. So this is Revolution Island. October, Revolution Island. And then what's over here then? Bolshevik Island, almost as big as Revolution. Huh? Okay, Bolshevik Island. So these ones, at least Bolshevik is new. I think Revolution might have just been like really, really puny before. I mean, look at them. These are as big as like Iceland now. You've got, man, Iceland has like no ice. Oh my goodness. Okay. Iceland used to be green. Now it's got center ice. Greenland used to be totally ice. We see the edges. Are we going to get green there? Wait, I got to roll the thingy. Not yet green. I'm wondering if we're going to get green. This is irritating because I roll it in and out and the whole earth spins. I'm not asking it to spin. Oh, look, then I roll it back and I've moved. This is extremely irritating. So I am not moving my mouse. I roll it out. Look at how much the earth spins. Then I roll it back in. I'm not in the same spot. Freaking Google Earth. Okay. Used to be I could just roll the roller and not move off its spot. All right, so again, I think we're going to see Iceland turning icy, Greenland turning green. Can we get it to be northwards as north? So this is, I think we have north pointing north now. This is interesting, actually. North pointing north. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so it looks to me like this whole thing is kind of tipped. Because it used to be, if you have north pointing north, then you'd see kind of like France, Germany, Poland, kind of as a flat line, and then Spain dipping down a little. But you now have it all like cattywampus now. France dipping down. So they're not this is aligned with north up, and you can see that these don't go across anymore. And it's kind of easy to not notice that if you don't put... It's very tippy. All right, so Revolution Island, Bolshevik Island, Mystery Islands, Svalbard growing. This thing has been growing for a while. What is this over here? Because that's gotten pretty large also. So I do agree with a Hobo Days. You know, there were tiny, tiny little islands out here, but they're a lot bigger now. And this is definitely big enough to have a name on it. Same with that. All right, so this is 30 miles across, probably like 45 miles long. This is about 80 miles. Oh, my computer's acted up a bit here. Unknown name. No name at all. There should be a name on this. I mean, if you got like 100-mile, 60, yeah, about 100, well, maybe about an 80 miles long island, it should have a name. Nothing. Looks like some kind of water inlet in here. No detail. It's like it hasn't been finished yet. The rendering is incomplete. It kind of shows where the rivers are. Or is that mountains, I guess? But yet not really. This is like ridiculous. So with all of our technology, we can't have a decent image and name on whatever this island is. This 80-mile long island has no name. This one has no name. No name. East Siberia Sea, but they're not white. Something seems a little suspicious here. All right, we'll look at the size of that now. Where's Hawaii? So, like, you look at Hawaii, it's tiny. Tiny, tiny compared to this thing. Where did it go? Now I'm all confused. wait. All right. Now I'm totally confused. All right, here we go. Russia. So this thing is like 3 times larger, 4 times larger, almost as big as Svalbard. Way, way, way bigger than Hawaii. No name. Oh man, look at how big Madagascar's gotten. This is crazy. Quit that. Madagascar's huge. It just keeps growing. Okay. I think we're going to see like a pattern of islands around here, off of Madagascar growing. Look at over here. Looks like stuff's coming up over here too. Have they burst through yet? It's coming. It's coming. That might be the next couple years of islands showing up in there. There, it looks like they're really close to bursting out. Not quite, though. But I do not remember this string of islands here. String of islands coming up. Sea mounts, I think they're called, until they come up. There's another ring of them coming up here. Ooh, look, a couple have popped. St. Helena Ascension and Tristan da Cunha. Have not heard of those. They have a name. They're like this big, but they have a name. But not the huge island above Russia. Sao Tome and Principe. Molecule size, they have a name. So yes, these are coming up. I wonder if they're going to have the big lakes in the center like some of them have. Look, you can't even see it, but the roads are lined in. Let's see. Are we going to get clarity here? Ah, here we go. All right, so it's got inland waters. Looks like, maybe. There's some kind of blue here anyway. but not the giant water centers that we see in some areas. Portinho. What's this? Malabo. All right, cool. So look at this. There's a lot of islands coming up. There's like a string of them coming off over here. Very busy out here. Interesting. Now it looks like stretch lines. It looks like the Earth was pregnant, had a baby, and now has stretch lines all across here. Every time I look at the planet, there's different stretch lines. So now they're all going one way across like that. Look at that. All like that, like that. Like, it changes every time. Islands coming in here. They're going to come in here. Looks like it's going to come around and maybe connect over here possibly. Bunch of stretch lines this way now. Look at, they're all going in, the stretch lines are all going in the same direction almost. All going that way. Dang, that is very interesting. All right, let's check at other stuff. Completely upside down now. You know, it's like the longer I use this Google Earth, the worse I am at dealing with it. All right, so this one is coming in really strongly. Really see shallow waters here versus there. I don't remember it being that extreme, but this is very much building in. Now we have a second line coming out across here. So we're going to just have like 10 bajillion islands, it looks like. It's going to be an Earth that is like packed with islands. I mean, are we all going to get our own island if we live long enough? Because that could be like really cool. Because if you think about it, if they develop some kind of flying cars and really cheap flight, like we didn't have to spend like $1 bajillion on gas, like everybody could have their own little island if 1 bajillion of these things come up. Just fly to your island on weekends. That would be awesome. And if you have really good power systems, you know, like self-generating power, like really good batteries and solar, then you could just collect the solar, charge the battery, you can have power that way. It could be awesome. All right, so where are we here? All talk and I got lost on the Earth. There we go, there we go. All right, so there's the United States. Quit that. This line here is interesting. So, Canada used to set above the United States. It didn't used to stretch an arm way off to the east like this. So this is interesting. I'm really noticing how much Alaska is like stretching out. And this just looks so wrong. It's like, it's so wrong. It's like Canada is like bursting open. It hangs way out over here. It's like a cake that's failing. The middle is falling in. It's the Gulf here. And this is flopping way out over here. Greenland has almost taken the place of the old Arctica North Pole. Very close. There, I just set it to north. So North Pole used to be right around here. So Greenland is sneaking in. Yet it's losing its ice. Canada has lost just about all of its ice. It used to be all white with just a tiny bit of green on here. Was the portrayal. Now what? Just a little ice over here on the East Coast. So everything is getting greenified. Which is really interesting. What are we doing here? Saudi Arabia is Gigantosaurus. Oh my goodness. Saudi Arabia just does not stop growing. Iran is huge. Absolutely huge. This weird smile thing over here is even more extreme than the last time I saw it. Look at that. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, Saudi. It's huge now. These areas are huge. Europe is so tiny. What else? What else? What else? This peninsula so long. Cuba has mostly clogged up the entrance to Gulf of Mexico. So we have extensive growth on the islands over here. Santo Domingo, gigantic. Dominican Republic, Haiti, those are huge. These are bigger than Cuba used to be. Jamaica's huge. Puerto Rico. Looks like a lot of growth in the Bahamas. This is all developing into something in here. Puerto Rico. So I think we're going to get a lot of stuff in here now. Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada. And there's a bunch more stuff. Bunch of stuff in here. Curacao and Aruba. Curacao, I think, is pretty new. This one looks... I wonder what that one is. Looks like that one's going to... There's going to be so many islands that we're going to go, like, insane trying to remember them all. So, again, we've got protected waters in here. Protected waters in here. There's going to be more protected. Protected waters is the name of the game these days. This island's all going to be here. Going to be protected waters in here. This area is going to ring, and there'll be all protected waters in here. With 10 bajillion islands. I keep thinking this will break off, but it never does. Taiwan. Luzon. I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that. It's bigger than Taiwan, and it's Luzon. Something in the Philippines. I guess. Luzon. It's huge. Bigger than Taiwan. Way bigger. Let's look at Australia. What's Australia been up to? It's interesting because early on, Australia grew like this gulf and this tip thing. It's kind of settled down. It hasn't hugely changed in a number of years. It's like kind of reached close to its final form. It's growing some islands. Something's going on over here with this dark area. Assume it's deep waters, but that's interesting. What is it, like 10 bajillion islands here? What is this? What is all that? Oh my gosh. It looks like there's like a bajillion islands developing out here. The Percy group. Look at that. Man, they look like little cellular organisms. That one looks like it's come through. Some of them have a name. The Beverly group. Sounds like businesses. Prudhoe Island. So how long is this? It's 10,000 feet. So a little small yet, but there's jillions of these. Oh my gosh. So there's going to be a jillion islands off the coast of Australia, clearly. Maybe some coming in there as well. All along the coastline. Looks like a bunch here. Is that kangaroo? Yeah, Kangaroo Island. So they're coming in lines, and then you'll have a protected coast in here, I think. Possibly along here. Yes, looks like they're going to line up along here and protect the coast. Some kind of barrier reef islands things, I would suspect. Awesome, possum. All right, let me see what you guys are up to. 10 bajillion islands. 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 10 bajil Hopefully I'm still live because I just did a lot of talking. Here we go. Nerds on a rope. Great Barrier Reef. So Great Barrier Reef did not used to come near the surface though. So if it's popping up like that, and it wasn't shown on Google Earth before. So lighter skinned and green and blue eyed East Asians. Yeah, there's been a lot of that weird like races out of place from where they used to be. So definitely Japan's got more islands, and there's islands now where they've always had very Caucasian-y looking people. I mean, you've got the Olmecs, those have been there since I was young, but that's sort of like, well, that's not an area where they really thought black people lived, and they would just kind of ignore that they had all these statues of obvious black people. So yeah, that'd be cool. We all could get our own island. I want to see that world. Google Earth is not user friendly. Nothing on Google is user friendly. Their search engine sucks. Maybe it's just because things are so shifty now and they're not settled. I don't know. I mean, we could blame it on the evil corporate empire, but I just don't see any benefit to them of having crappy Google Earth. The YouTube island Lost Geographic also has proofs of Costa Rica being an island. Yeah, I think it was in at least some timelines. There was just too many people remember it as an island. Yeah. So, like, it used to be there was just a few places that had a lot of islands, like the Philippines had a lot of islands. And they were kind of famous for being a ton of islands, but now it's like everywhere. Or if it's not everywhere, it's very close to coming up in everywhere. I think we're going to see it everywhere in the next few years. Why is Sydney not the capital? Yep. It's bad. Download older versions of Google Earth. So that's just what they have on their website right now, and that's what I've been using for years. Is start their website Google Earth. So they should have their latest version of the website Google Earth, right? And if I didn't download new ones, then it should work the same as the last time I was on it, and it's not. So either way, something ain't right. All right. I think, what is going on right there? This dark thing. Port Phillip. Do not remember this dark thing there. I'm wondering if you're getting a very nice port right there. You know, the other thing about Australia is I think the green is definitely a little, quit that, a little further in than I recall it. It used to be really tight around the edges here. And it was, 95% desert. But now it looks like it's like 70% desert. It looks like it's de-desertificating. Look at that string right there. Oh my goodness. I think these are all going to come up too. We're going to just have millions of islands. All right. Auckland. Just checking to see if this is split yet. This is interesting. This does look different than last time I checked. Where's Auckland again? Auckland. There. Yeah, Auckland is here. This coming here. Try to see if this is split apart yet. Comes to there. Not quite. Huh, this area looks different now though. Huh. This is weird. So the last time this looks like the same one, kinda? But I don't remember this density of large structures right here being at this point. Would come through. Dang, it's different. Okay, it comes through over here maybe. Maybe this is where it comes through now. So at one point there was kind of an outflow area here, and I'm not seeing it. This comes all the way to here, probably wet all the way up into here. But there's not the outflow area there. So might end around here. That's about 3,000 feet. Because this looks like it comes in a lot further than I remember. Interesting. This looks huge compared to how it was before, though. So I do think it's slowly splitting, but it is really slow. So what, instead of just finishing the split, it's like it just keeps remodeling in here. Remodeling, remodeling, remodeling. It's not ready to have its own... It's not ready to be 3 pieces yet, though. It just keeps remodeling and remodeling. Ooh, this is interesting. These two actually look a little closer together than I... So... do I have that right? I remember this piece looking like a puzzle piece onto this piece. We've now got this divot out here, so it's not a fitting puzzle piece. This area here is wider. This area is narrower than last time I looked. Plus you've got this big divot missing out. So it used to look like it had just separated, and now it doesn't really match nearly as well as it used to. So, again, remodeling, remodeling, remodeling. All right. Well, if anybody has anything to add, but I think I'm done for there. Snowing and skiing in Australia still freaks me out. Yeah. Freaks me out. And even in Africa, they have now a ski lodge in Africa, because the end of Africa is getting really close to Antarctica because we're like running out of ocean. All right, close you. Be a little easier on the system. What do we got? 152. Yuck. I have talked a lot. Where... I really don't feel like I've talked that much today, and it's already been almost 2 hours. You can't cover as much because the time is so short. Got you. All right, I'll do all but like one. No, the colder it is, the worse my spelling. All right, Tim. Yeah. There it is. New ruins I have not heard of before. Timgad, Algeria. They're very nice. I do think I might have seen this image somewhere, thinking that it was like in Greece or something, but it was in Algeria, but it is supposed to be a Roman preservation. So they're like, in some places, is like perfectly preserved. So supposedly, this is not redone by archaeologists. This is just what's there. Timgad, Algeria. So very awesome possum. It's Greece is not special with its Roman preservation anymore. So it used to be that Rome kind of ruled all across the region, but it ruled existing civilizations. It didn't just build, and it built some roads, okay? It was credited for building a bunch of roads and connecting everything. But it didn't have its own Roman style colosseums and stuff all over the place like it does now. You know, I think I clicked on this before, this image. Ooh, look at this one. All right, let's see if we can get this one to load. I mean, look at that. Wonder-free. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's... No. How did I write Roman ruins when I was looking this up then? Yeah, it is Roman ruins in Algeria. Timgad can thank the sands of the Sahara for its survival. When did Roman ruins even been in the Sahara Desert? It is such a remarkable sight to behold that some travels even gone so far as to dub as Algerian Pompeii. Yeah, when did we have Roman ruins in like that area? And such extensive, beautiful ones. Trajan's Arch and other highlights of Timgad architecture. So this one is by Appleton Gallery. Commenter Appleton Gallery found this. Very good. Roman Arch of Trajan at Thamugadi. Another word for Timgad, Algeria, late 1800s. But it's pretty much still there. Ancient Roman theater in Timgad. All right, what is there now? Does anybody remember Roman ruins in like the Sahara Desert region? Like Africa? Holy cow, what is this? Look at that. Aerial photography. Let's try this one. Reddit. Check it out. So there's the cathedral. Look at that. I've never even seen a Roman city with that many structures at all. Look at that. That's craziness. In the Sahara area. That is insane. Oh, look at that. Explore the ruins of Timgad. Doesn't even look like anybody's preserving it. You could just bop down there. Excavated from the sands of Algeria. So, all right, so they scraped the sands off. The Roman Empire lives on in unexpected places, like the former colonial city of Timgad, 300 miles from the capital, founded by the Emperor Trajan around 100 AD. Check that out. Visitor of the ruins of Timgad can see the outlines of exactly where each of its buildings once stood. Wow, that would be so awesome. There's like one person there. Another UNESCO World Heritage Site, it seems. Look at that. So it even had like a line divider in the road, apparently. All right, so that's like really cool. Good find, Appleton Gallery. I think the last one I have, let's see. Roman built or conquered Tartaria? Yeah, I don't know on this time. What what is going to be canon, official history, the unofficial history. It's all constantly changing. Crazy history, don't know what to think of half of it anymore. Yeah, I know. It's like constantly just showing up. It doesn't make sense. You've never heard of it. The current storyline does not make sense with what's showing up, but the current storyline keeps changing. The conspiracy theories keep changing. The other thing I'm finding is when I'm trying to research something, every place says something different now. So there's no even consensus, you know. It'll say perfectly preserved and then it looks like crap, but then I'm like, well, later, is it going to be perfectly preserved? My church used to teach the 5 rises of the Roman Empire, with the 5th to come worldwide. Never heard of that. That's interesting. Yeah. Wasn't in my timeline, though. Not worldwide. So that sounds like the current Tartaria theory a lot then, because of worldwide reach. Concept is kind of a Tartaria concept. All right, the last one, kind of a simple one, but Mark Tyus found this one. Endangered pink iguanas. Another one of those endangered stories. Some animal you never heard of is almost extinct, and next year there'll be more of them. So they've got these endangered pink iguanas, critically endangered. Pink iguanas babies found in the Galapagos. This one's by Mark Tyus. Good find. An adult, they're pink when they're adults and they're green when they're juveniles. There's so many colors of iguana. Signal the birth of hope for a critically endangered reptile. Researchers have found nesting sites and juveniles of the Galapagos pink land iguana for the first time since the species was first described in 2009. Conservationists thought they were dying out. Only adult iguanas up to nearly 4 feet long. Holy hand grenades, 4 feet long. That is a big iguana. That's kind of like those, what are those ones that eat people and stuff? I mean, that they're starting to like, I wonder if they'll get bigger. I bet they will, because I've not heard of them in that long. That is long iguana. And they're pink. All right, so there you go. Giant 4 foot long pink land iguanas have also arrived. Enjoy your white sun. You know, we're just going to have to make the best of it, whatever the heck's going on. I don't know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It is what it is. Is that the Christmas? That is my New Year's thing. Think good thoughts. Do your best. And it is what it is. All right. I think it's time for me to check out. Thanks for coming on this Christmas, near Christmas day. Very much appreciate it. You know, just try to think good thoughts, spread the love, be a good person. That's all we can really do. None of us are perfect, but we can at least move into a direction of improvement and being better people. I think that's why we're here. It's the Christmas message. Think good thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.